Hello, we are Garlan and Sylvia Yoder. We would like to welcome you to our home here at the Buckhorn Inn. We are the owners here. We are a family-run business, and we would like an opportunity to tell you a little bit about our place and to show you around a little bit. We've owned the inn ourselves for almost 3 years. It is a very unique place. We feel very privileged to be here because it's almost 200 years old. It was built in 1811 as a stagecoach stop. We are on the old Parkersburg Turnpike here. If you would have been going from Staunton or Richmond to Parkersburg, West Virginia, or what is now West Virginia, you would have gone right past our place. There were 3 stagecoach stops within about 10 miles of each other here, and we were one of them. Another one is still standing, and the third one burned down in the last 30 years. This was known as the place to gather in the community for over a century, all the way through the 1800s. It was built in 1811 by William Dudley. It was known as the Dudley House up until the late 1800s at some point. Nobody knows exactly when the name was changed or even why. There's 2 stories that go with that. One was that there was a large buck shot here somewhere, and they called it the Buckhorn Inn, or the Buckhorn Tavern at that point. And the other is that there was a guest that stayed here who was reminded of a tavern in New York City that was called the Buckhorn. And that we don't know whether that story is true or not, but at some point between 1850s and 1900, it was changed to the Buckhorn Tavern. When community would gather here in the 1800s, there was a dance pavilion that had been built on the ridge behind us that would have been elevated probably about 40 feet, 50 feet above us. And that's where many of the dances would be held. There is still a flat spot up there where that pavilion was. In 1854, Professor Jackson, before he was Stonewall, stopped here with his first wife, Elinor. They were on the way from what is now West Virginia down to the homestead at Warm Springs. And Elinor wrote a letter about stopping at the Dudley House. That letter is now at the Stonewall Jackson House in Lexington. And they stopped here and were then taken from here to the next stagecoach stop south of us. In 1924, this was bought by a Lester Hoy who wanted to make a resort out of it. Initially, this was an 8-room inn or tavern. He added a wing in the back that added an additional 10 rooms to it and wrapped the porch all the way around it. Unfortunately, the Depression came along and he didn't make it. Then it was bought in 1929 by a local family, the Whites, who then owned it for the next basically 50 years. Ran it as a combination of inn, apartments for a while, and then lived here for a part of that time. And then it was bought in 1976 by a local restaurateur who then restored it and converted it to a bed and breakfast and a restaurant, which is basically what it's been since then.